Hey, Hoosier fans, welcome into another special edition, our summer series catch up as we bounce around to the different Indiana University varsity sports, talking to the different athletes. Myself, Greg Murray, alongside Griffin Gonzalez, each week talking with a new athlete. We have a terrific guest here this week, a senior thrower on the Indiana track and field team, a Big Ten champion, an All-American 2019 outdoor Big Ten champion in the shot put event from Charlotte, North Carolina, Khayla Dawson. Kayla, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Doing pretty good.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We appreciate you chatting with us here today. We always ask our guests, where are you and how are you doing through everything that's been happening these last few months?
Well, I'm here in Bloomington. I've been here since the start of the quarantine, and it's been a bit emotional ride. It's pretty nuts. Like, I don't think anybody saw this coming. Like, it's just crazy. And it took some adapting on my end to like just kind of like get through, not being able to finish, the season, not even, get to compete really at NCAA indoors. So, I just, took that time during the beginning stages of quarantine to just, go over my goals and what I want to do and things that I need to work better on. So that way, when things get back to normal, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to go out there and be ready to do what I want to achieve. So I would say so far, like up till now, I've been managing okay. Just keeping myself busy with side development projects. Working out as best as I can. The gym's just recently opened, so I've been there lifting, and they also have a area where I can throw, so it's pretty neat that I can do both workouts there. It's good. It's a new era going on right now, but I've done a good job with maintaining the things that I can control and work on.
Kayla, you mentioned these last few months, obviously the quarantine, but more recently it's been difficult times and just different times for a lot of people. More recently, these last few weeks with the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis and the protests and the riots that have followed afterwards. I want to start there if we can, because I know you were part of an event in Bloomington just last week. I'm curious just if you could share your experience there and what that was like.
It was an overwhelming experience because that was the first time I've ever been to a protest. So I would say just to see so many of Bloomington come out there and just support and show solidarity in this awful injustice that's going on right now in the country, and that has been going on for way too long. And I would say what touched me deeply was the genuineness I was seeing at the present. Like, people were really like just loving each other and just showing that support. I thought it was so great. The demographic itself was amazing. I saw more white people than I did Black and other persons of color, and I thought that was great because it shows like it's not just a Black and person of color problem. It's everybody. It's all of our problems to solve, because you shouldn't discriminate and have prejudice towards what someone looks like and their identity. Like, you need to look at a person and show them just the basic human decency. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. That's how I was raised.
What were your big takeaways from that event? Obviously, you had so much community there, many members of Indiana University athletic staff there, coaches there. What's the big takeaway from an event like that for a person like you?
I would say the big takeaway was change is in action. Like, this isn't just, all of us going out there, wasting our energies, expressing our voices, no one listening, nothing's being, like, when I left, I was like, change is coming, and I'm a part of this change, and I'm proud of that because that's just my responsibility. That's my responsibility as uh as a person and as a human. That's where I saw it.
Very moving event, certainly, and I'm glad that you were able to be a part of that last week in Bloomington. You've been there since this quarantine took place, and I want to talk about you athletically. I'll also get into your academics, which is I find very interesting a little bit later as well. But athletically, you're a thrower on the track and field team. Take me back to when you got started specifically in throwing. What attracted you to doing that as an athlete?
Well, so my dad was a thrower, and he threw in high school, was really good, and he threw in college as well. He was a dual sport athlete. He played football and threw shot put. And when we moved from New York to Charlotte, I was just involved in many, number of different, recreational activities, but the one I was sticking with the most was soccer. So soccer was great. I was a goalie up until I was 8. When I turned 9, my dad was like, hey, there's a track club here in Charlotte called the Charlotte Flights. And I was like, okay, cool. What's track? So he was like, oh, well, it's sprinting, long distance running, jumping, throwing, all that good stuff. And I was like, okay, all right, well, what did you do it? And he was like, yeah, I did it back at Hampton University. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And it was like, and I, most specifically, I did shot put and discus. And, I was like, okay, cool. I want to learn shot put. And I took, when I was 9, I didn't, return back to play soccer, and I joined the Charlotte Flights track team, and I started, to learn how to throw shot put, and I was pretty decent enough to make it to USATF regionals, which consisted of like the whole North and South, like East Coast. So that was pretty good. And then when I turned when I turned 10, I won my first junior Olympic championship. So it was just, I don't know, it was just a really amazing feeling every time I went out there and threw. Like, I was like, I just want to get better and better and better. And that's why I'm here now.
With such success at an early age, 9, 10 years old, getting to that kind of level, maybe you realized it a little bit later as you got older, but at what point did it kind of set in your mind like, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
Whew, I would say definitely after my 3rd junior Olympic championship, because man, that was one heck of a battle. Like, it was me and this other girl from Nebraska, and we were just going back at it the entire time, and she was leading up until the last throw, and I was the last thrower in the final, and I was like, I do not want to lose. Like, I'm going to win this. And sure enough, my last throw, boom, it just took off. Like, when it left my hand and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, it's going to fall down now. And I'm like, oh no, oh wow, it's still going. It's still going. And when it landed, I was like, whoa, okay, you're pretty okay at this.
Well, you talk about, how you had to go last in that area. And this is something I've always wondered about shot put throwers. It's always kind of that battle of when are you going to throw. You talk about how you had to get the advantage there because you knew how far you had to throw it there. Would you rather throw first or last, because then you kind of know how far you're at least going to have to get it?
I mean, I'm also okay with throwing first. That's something I took a personal challenge to last year, like, just to show myself, like, hey, you can have the nervous jitters and stuff, but we're going to just embrace that and control it and just harness it into this throw. And I told myself, okay, whenever you're the first thrower or within that first 4 or 3, just blast it. Whether you foul it or not, just go ahead and go after it. And sure enough, it was a little rough in the beginning, and then going towards the Michigan Power 5 Invitational, I was the 3rd, 4th thrower, I think, and it was all right. And then the thrower before me, she was a thrower at Wisconsin. She throws and just, launches one, kind of just sets the tone. And, she made she looked at me like, can't top that. So I was like, oh, okay. So then when I get in, I'm like, I'm going to blast this freaking ball. And I was just nervous, like heart racing, everything. But I was just determined to just get that thing out there. And as soon as I just wind it up and I just took off from the back, it was just automatic. Like, it was just so quick. It was like turn, boom, boom, shot out my hand, and it just flew. And I was like, oh, whoa, that was like a big time throw. And then when it landed, it was like 57-2. And I was like, oh my God, that was like a 2-foot, PR, like just like that, effortless. And I was like, okay, you know what? That's the edge. That's what we're gonna, just keep in the toolbox going forward. And that definitely helped with me winning the 2019 outdoor championship, because it was cold. It was very cold. Conditions were not the greatest. It's kind of not a fun time. It was pretty dreary. Then again, we were in Iowa, and I can tell, like, from just the tone of how the men's championship, how their series went. I was like, okay, it's going to take just one throw to win this thing. Like, nobody's going to, basically have that in them to just, try to go back and forth, because it's like how cold, and it was off and on raining too. So keeping that in mind, I was telling myself after I was, just warming up, like, we're going to have to win this on the first throw. First throw, like, we can't mess around. Like, we got to get it on this first throw. And that's just what I was telling myself the entire time warming up. And when it became, my first attempt came up, I looked out there and I was like, all right, let's go. And what's funny was, at the same time as I was beginning to throw, Cooper Williams is in the background, about to win the 800-meter men's championship. So it's like 2 IU athletes at the same time just going in for the kill. And I thought that was so cool. So, just hearing that in the background and just feeling that energy, I was like, all right, let's go. And it was just so effortless. Like, I just came around the back, and everything just felt long and smooth. And when I just came to the front and it just, released from my hands, and I just saw it going and going, I was like, holy crap, like, that was a big time throw. And seeing that land, and then hearing my fellow throwers in the stage just going crazy, like, that was just such a great feeling. Such a great feeling.
You think back on those, and is it kind of like slow motion? Just the way you describe that moment and that kind of throw, do you almost sense like an out of body experience when it's going to be a big throw like that?
I will say it just feels super surreal. Like, it's like, whoa, like, this is really happening. Like, this is real life. Like, oh my God.
Kayla, I want to ask you about your drive for here for a second. You have so much early success, and you continue to grow that success. Even at Indiana University, you had success as early as your freshman year and kept that going all 4 years. As an athlete, when you have that success early on, what's your strive to keep going, to keep getting better, to keep reaching that next level?
Just knowing that if I just continue to just keep working and just keep pushing and just keep persisting, I can be the best. Like, I can just be the best, like, out of everybody. And when you have that mentality, when you have that like going through your head, it's like nothing seems possible. Like, to stop you. Like, there's nothing that can stop you except yourself. So just knowing that it's like, hey, I can do this. It's been proven, it's shown. I got that, consistent, self-assurance, like, yeah.
I want to ask a little bit, Kayla, about your experience outside of track and field, because from what I've learned about you is that you have a fascinating background academically in what you're doing, and I'm curious from your major. Let everybody know what it is and what led you to that kind of field.
Sure. So I just finished a degree, Bachelor's of Science in Informatics with the cognate in security, which is also, cybersecurity. And basically, just a quick rundown of what informatics is. It's the technical and non-technical aspects and concepts of information technology. And it's a combination of knowing the ethics and the, social elements of technology, and then the heavy technical programming coding side of, IT. So with that, that's just the foundation. And then you choose a cognate, which is also a concentration. So just you're applying that foundation into a specific area. So mine was security. So I learned about how to secure networks, how to create secure code, also learned the management part of cybersecurity. So like kind of the non-technical part, like more from a business lens. So it's a very, very, informational, like, field. Like, you never stop learning. Like, it's always something new. And I think that's what resonated most with me is there's always going to be something new. There's going to be another challenge. It's never going to stop. I need something that's going to continue to bring the best, out of me. I can't have something that's like repetitive. Then I'm bored.
Certainly in cybersecurity, it's ongoing. It's always changing. Something else that you're involved with is the Athleta Foundation, which helps student athletes like yourself make that transition right from a student athlete into, I guess, a business world. Take me through that experience and how beneficial the Athleta Foundation is.
So, man, that foundation is just godsend. I got connected to the CEO of Athleta through a former teammate of mine, and just from that connection on us keeping on LinkedIn, it's just been nonstop, like just, step by step, like things are just getting done. I've been exposed to many different representatives of different companies and like, what they offer, in their technical field, fields that I'm interested in. And, just the fact that they're partnered with Salesforce. So through that partnership, Salesforce provides mentorship and one-on-one mentorship, and also have get access to their trailheads, platform, which is where you learn Salesforce certifications and just, learning modules of all different kinds of technology and software needs for, your business or just for your own, knowledge.
That's fascinating things, and I imagine trying to make that transition from student athlete to a professional in the business world, if you will. Being a student athlete oftentimes seems like a full-time job. if as someone that's going through that right now, or is older in your college career, what advice do you have for other student athletes that are trying to make that transition?
I would say to just get down a piece of paper and just jot down a top 5, just basic goals, just to kind of get you that basic foundation of just something to focus on. Something I can attest to is when you have something to like just follow and abide by, like it kind of gives you that discipline to like just see things through. So that's what has helped with me in my development out here in the transition from high school to college, and being able to transfer my success forward to even more exponential links here. So and have a good solid support group. Surround yourself with people that's going to bring the best out, have good positive energy, and has like the similar goals as yourself. I found that that's also something that's going to help mold you into a more successful person.
Kayla, I know your season got cut short this year, and you're planning on coming back next season for the outdoor season, if I'm correct there.
Mm-hmm.
What else is next for you? What's next on the calendar for Khayla Dawson when all this settles down?
Well, once track and field can get back into the facilities. Currently at the moment I'm lifting down in the local gym here in Bloomington called Iron Pit. And they have the necessary equipment that I need to continue to like just keep my strength levels on a good par. So I would say like just once I can get back onto IU's facilities is just to go ahead and just come with a different energy, but that same mentality I had the season prior. It's just going to be stop, like just I'm locked in from the go, like I'm locked in from the go, like going into I can compete outdoor season, like from then on for the rest of that season. I'm just going to try and be on top of things every meet, because that's what I believe is going to allow me to get out my goal of winning NCAA championship.
Well, Kayla, we can't thank you enough for chatting with us here for a few minutes. Of course, we wish you the best of luck in your training and for the I guess the new tail end of your college career when we get there down the line. But hope you enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you again back in Bloomington soon. But thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.